guys, going to be doing the brakes on a 2015 Nissan Rogue. I just want to show you this bolt, the glide pin that for the caliper on the top. This hose is in the way. It's a bad design. This flex hose is going to stop you from really getting a socket on here. So you use a opening wrench unless you got a small socket. So you can take this bolt out as far as possible, and then you can flip your caliper up. As you see here, the pin is still in there, but you can get it out a little more easy this way, because you can maneuver the hose a bit because you got the caliper off. It's a bad design, it really is. And I'm showing you here, this hose goes into a solid piece of steel in the frame. Normally you see the clip on closest to you. You can take that clip off and move the brake hose, but not on this one. One side goes into the solid block, the other one you can take that clip out and you can unscrew it if you want and move to one side. Bad design in my opinion. It is what it is. Another Nissan wonder engineering, right? So I'm going to take the pads off here and have a look. I do not need new brake pads. I thought I did. Wow, it must have been a racket in the drum. Maybe there's lots of rust in the drum and I just thought brakes needed to be done. Let's look at the inside one. Maybe it's wearing on even. Nope. They're both good. So the piston is the brake pads are not wearing on even, meaning that the piston is sliding in and out rather okay. So but I'm going to put new ones on anyway because I got them, and I'll just keep those as a backup. That's your glide pins. Make you see how dirty they were, and one was starting to have a lot of rust on it. So it was a good time anyway. You should maintain your brakes, guys, every couple years. It don't hurt to maintain them because you're not taking the rotor off in most cases. You're just taking the tire off and taking out the glide pins and re-lubing the glide pins, and it gives you peace of mind. Here, sometimes there are different lengths, but this one's got a rubber piece on the end. That one goes on the bottom. That's your anti-rattle. But sometimes one of them are shorter than the other, but take note on how you take them out. It's nice to have a couple extra glide pins if you're doing this regularly on your vehicle. They cost pretty cheap, so having one or two in your toolbox don't hurt. So now, because of the rotor looked, so rusty, I'm going to take off the caliper bracket. So there's one down here, one here, and it's 17 millimeter. So I'm going to take that off and take the rotor off. So here we go. We're going to try and take this rotor off now. You can use a hammer to beat it if you're not going to keep it. But if you're going to keep your rotor, try and use a dead blow hammer. So here I'm using dead blow hammer, and it's not going to come off, So inside, I'm suspecting there's a groove, and the pads is hooking up on the groove. You'll never get that off without damaging it. So what I'm going to do is, you can spray lubricant all you want. Sometimes you can put KY jelly on that thing, and it ain't going to slip out. But since I know I put anti-seize on there the last time, I know the drum is not rusted to the hub. So I'm going to take out this rubber bung here, and it's going to give you access to your adjuster. It don't matter if you put that bung inside. If it falls inside, that's fine. Don't worry. You're hopefully going to get this rotor off, and you'll retrieve that. On this model, the star adjuster is on the bottom. So get a flashlight and have your small screwdriver and turn that so that it lines up with that star adjuster. So you look in, line it up, and grab your screwdriver. And some models, you'll go up to loosen, and some you'll go down to loosen. You'll figure that out. Get your screwdriver and turn that adjuster in whatever direction that loosens. And this one is down, so should slip off there like, well, shit on an iceberg. There she goes. And you see I had anti-seize there. That's why it was an easier time. Just showing you the adjuster on the bottom here. You might have to tilt your head or stand upside down, but there is the adjuster. If you're replacing your shoes, take pictures to make sure that you know where everything goes. As you see, there's a big lip around here. I'm going to take a little screwdriver and knock that off. It's overkill. I have changed these rotors since this video, but the thickness, they were great. So it's just rust and everything. So I have a attachment for my angle grinder, and I use a 3000 grit disc, and I just go and clean. I don't clean up the whole rotor. I don't touch where the pads ride. I just take off each lip. There's a lip on the inside and a lip on the outside. And I just usually grind that down flush with the rest of the disc, and clean out the fins with a screwdriver, as you've seen earlier there, if it needs to be. And just tidies it up. You don't have to. It's just me, OCD. So here it is, all cleaned up, looking a lot better. I chipped off all that, blah, blah. So now, when you take out your bolts, clean them up, guys. Don't be lazy. Clean them up. Make sure there's no rust on them, and you don't want to put back bolts that's dirty or rusted. All right. Now, the clips, you may get clips with your new pads. If not, you can clean these up. They're stainless steel. They clean up pretty good. But you definitely want to take them off and clean the rust out of these grooves where the hardware sits. Any rust at all can push up enough. It's a tight fit as it is, and it can stop your pads from moving freely. Your boot, if you got a hole in your boot in a pinch and you don't have any boots, because you definitely want good boots, this is the product I use. And I've put it on there, and I've worked for probably 2-3 years until I changed the brakes again. And but for the cost of new boots, guys, you know you're going to be doing this job. Pick up some boots. You can probably get a dozen for $10. They're not expensive. Now, you can take the boots off. If you find the caliper is not sliding in and out as it should, or you notice your pads are kind of wearing on even, you can check to see, take your boots off and check the bore. And what I usually do is I spray brake cleaner in there, and I get my gun cleaner, put it in the drill, and I just go in and it cleans it really nice. And I'm here just cleaning off the rust where the hardware was set for the pads here. So again, you have it all open. Just take the extra time and do all these things, because it's a peace of mind for later, and it's going to save you in the future for if you got to change your shoes or something like that. I mean, it makes the job a lot easier. So put grease where the hardware is going to go, and you also put a little grease on the hardware itself, not much. Put your boots back on. Okay, guys, so you're ready now to put the rotor back on. Do yourself a favor, put some anti-seize back on that place there, so that when you want to take off your rotor in the future for whatever reason, you're not going to be cursing and swearing for hours and hours. I put my stuff in a little test tube, or not a test tube, but a syringe. It makes it a lot easier. You get less mess everywhere. That's just me. It takes a little bit of a time to put it in there, but you don't use much anyway. So I might only go through one syringe in a couple years, but it certainly makes it a lot easier. So guys, you see in the bottom there, that spring, that's for your parking cable. You can lube that up a little bit. You don't want to put too much grease because it can get the dust and everything, but I find sometimes a certain graphite lubricant don't collect the dust and stuff like that, but you can just oil it up a little bit, just to keep it free. So we're ready to put the rotor back on here. Give it a spin. Make sure that you got a little drag on your drum from the shoes. It should turn, one turn or so before it stops. If not, you can adjust it. This one seems to be pretty good. If you want to adjust it, you can use the same adjuster, and as you seen earlier, to take it off, you can adjust it to make it proper. So put the bung back in here. I'm ready to go, and now you need to put the caliper bracket back on. Don't forget, once you get the bracket back on, to put a little grease on the hardware, or you can put a little grease on the little ears on your new pads. Torque it down to 88 foot-pounds. That's what the manual said for this vehicle. You have to look and find the specs for your vehicle. I don't take responsibility. 88 for me could be 110 for you. So be smart, use your noggin, and look up the specs. This is a tool that I have for brakes. I don't use it all that much. Yeah, it's good for the piston that you need to twist as you push in. It's great. But I'm going to be honest, I usually just go for my large channel locks to push in the brake piston. But this is a nice tool. It comes with a few attachments for different types. You want to get your piston and push it in. Now, if you've added brake fluid because you thought, okay, my brakes is not, the pedal's going too far down or whatever, and you look in and he says, oh, the fluid is low. But then your brakes are real bad. If you put on new pads and you don't open the top of your reservoir and put a little rag to catch the excess, when you squeeze in that piston on both sides or all four, whatever you're doing, it can overflow. And if you don't take the cap off, you can do damage or spray it all over the place. So only if you added fluid, then be careful. If not, then you won't have any problems. If there's no leaks, there's no problems. You'll just put in the new pads and the fluid will come right up to normal. So you want to push in the piston, check the piston, make sure there's no leaks, and put a little brake grease, because brake grease is rubber friendly. So I usually put a bit of grease around the piston there, especially where it contacts the pad, and just slightly where the rubber comes up to that piston. It just helps it to not roll the rubber. This one is good, so proceed with the rest of the procedure. So I'm going to put the new pads on. I get these from what we would equivalent to AutoZone, in the zone. Again, check the piston, make sure there's no leaks. Clean up. You see how bad the hardware can get. Clean that up. Clean the rust off of your caliper. Make sure where the hardware goes. And guys, don't worry about this. This is just a shot of that dumb engineering. Anyway, guys, thank you. Subscribe and see you on the next one.